Hello everybody, Luke back once again. This time to take a look at some past websites versus some current websites. Now this is the current version of weather.com. We're going to take a look at it all the ways back in 1998. This is December 6, 1998. A quick look at how the web has changed and everything thanks to the Wayback Machine. In this video, we're going to take a look at the difference between the design back then and the design today, talk about some of the different reasons why things are so much different now, and take a look at it. Now, if you're new here, do me a big favor. Help us grow this channel. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that thumbs up. It really does help us because it lets YouTube know you like what we do here by hitting subscribe or just hitting the thumbs up. And hopefully we can help you learn something new. Now, this is the 1998 weather.com. Now you notice it's very different from what we get today. Now, one of the big things is our screens are so much bigger that having it left justified like this, it makes so much wasted space over here. Think back to the late 90s and computer screens weren't nearly as big and they weren't this widescreen look that we have today. But it is very interesting to see the design choices, the breakdown versus the modern websites today, which are much more graphically pleasing, but also very heavy with the ads. If you take a look here, look at these massive ads. Apparently think I need to buy shorts today. Probably trying to clear out their stocks and a whole lot more down here. A lot more content on the homepage here, a lot more ads. It really comes down to the fact that back in the late 1990s, most places like weather.com, which was the Weather Channel's website, were not pushing the website to make money. This was about driving engagement back from their main channel on cable, which made them the money. And this was like a supplemental service they offered to keep you thinking of the Weather Channel and also prevent other companies from coming in and trying to take over the weather market. But they were definitely very heavily focused on looking at the weather, where today we're a lot more about videos. If you notice here, it's all text stories. A little bit later on, you did have interactive maps that would scroll. And farther on into the early 2000s, you did start getting short video clips. Today, video ads are the most profitable. So websites now post video content up front. You look at these. These are videos they want you to watch rather than text stories, because a video ad that pre-rolls before the video generates a lot of money for them. You notice there's actually quite a bit of non-news or weather news here too. And then you do also have all kinds of other content here, banner ads, and more traditional. It's interesting to see weather.com. You have to go all the way to the bottom. And on an old computer, you would scroll a lot farther than we just did to get to some ads. Who here remembers GoTo.com? Search made simple. A couple different search engines here. And what I always find interesting here is web browsers. Now, they were promoting back then Internet Explorer. Internet Explorer was in a hot fight with other web browsers to be the dominant one. And at the time they were. But they were paying websites like weather.com to promote Internet Explorer at the bottom here. The other thing I thought was interesting is two things. First of all, how small these links are. You compare that today, big buttons to click on, easy big text to select. Here, look how small the text is. And you actually have to be pretty exact when you clicked it. Instead of a big button, you actually have to get the exact text or you're going to miss it, which I thought was interesting. There are a few different areas here where there are bigger ones. Here, this is not actually a clickable. It's just an image. You have to go underneath to watch us work on camera, get a little bit more right there, which is interesting. The other thing I thought was interesting here is if you go to the bottom here, you got pretty much all kinds of terms of service, policies, all kinds of legal disclaimers. You really don't get that anymore. You got come work with us. You got a copyright, 1998, the Weather Channel. And reproduction of this is prohibited. Now, what I find interesting here is nowadays there's a lot more laws that govern websites. You have to legally put these things like privacy policy, ad things, accessibility statement, data vendors who you're selling your data to, all kinds of different things here you legally nowadays have to share in order to be legal in the United States and European Union and so many other countries. So very interesting there. The other thing is this was the late 90s. back when if you had some rudimentary programming skills, you could pretty much write a paycheck. You know, as weather.com is advertising for people to come work with them. They're looking for web people. Web people were very hard to get. And I don't know if you kind of remember this time, but the late 1990s, early 2000s, if you put in hey, I work at weather.com, or I can program, you can go work at weather.com and pretty much name your salary if you have those skills. It's interesting is because it was so profitable, so many people went and got those skills. The pool of people who can now do this kind of work today is very high. Actually, paychecks have gone plummeting down for this kind of work. Back then, you could easily be making a 6-figure salary, making a website like this. Today, and some very high-end ones, you still can, but a lot of website workers don't make 6 figures or more anymore. So it's very interesting to see the change with that. Now, a couple other interesting notes here. You look at the radar today, we get these big interactive radars. I can zoom in, get all kinds of info. Back in the day, this was your radar if you clicked on weather.com. And now I find it interesting that this is actually pulling from 1999. So it seems like the different page saves are different here. But take a look at this. This is the weather from back then. Kind of a cool, interesting look at this, how small it is. Also find it interesting to have a little thing here about AOL users. Anybody here have AOL? We did. That was one of the first internet providers I had as a kid. But you can also click for a time lapse here. Now, sadly, it doesn't work, but you could click it and it would slowly load, especially if you were on dial-up. About 4 or 5 image scrolling radar loop to give you a look at maybe the past hour or 2 hours, give you an idea where the radar is. But this was it. This is how you got your weather. I was actually talking to my dad recently about golfing. You know, nowadays, it's very rare for us to be on the golf course and get surprised by a rainstorm coming. We may not know exactly when it will hit, but we do know it's coming. Back then, it was very easy to get surprised by a rainstorm because they were unpredictable. You didn't know when they were going to come, and you weren't always on your computer. You weren't checking the radar. You weren't listening to the radio to get weather forecasts like we can today. Very different how we can move forward. Now I can get this radar on my phone. I can say, hey, you know, no, this is going north of us. I don't have to worry about this big complex of storms. Back then, I would have to go to my computer, dial in, and all kinds of stuff. Totally different world. I do find it interesting the amount of ads. Nowadays, websites are intended to be profit centers. They're intended to make money. Back in the late 1980s, these were considered loss leaders. They intended to lose money on this, but they were making their money through the TV stations. Well, things are very different now. They definitely don't do it that way anymore. Well, there you go. What do you think of this head-to-head looking at from 1998 to 2001, the different websites? Do you enjoy this? Do you want to see more? Let me know if there's a website you want me to check out. Leave me a comment. I'd love to know. Maybe we'll do another one of these videos sometime in the future. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up. It really does help us because it lets YouTube know you enjoy what we do here. Thanks for your support. I really appreciate it.